India's renewable energy sector is the fourth most attractive renewable energy market in the world. The scale of transformation has been stunning, and the government has rightly set an ambitious target of generating 500 gigawatt of renewable power by 2030 to meet the nation's growing energy demands. News18 Network has partnered with Tata Power for Sustainable as Attainable, a special initiative that aims to raise awareness and build conversations to create a sustainable future. Welcome to the India Energy Bulletin, a show where we bring you the latest news, policy developments and technological advancements that are driving India's sustainable energy agenda. Solar energy has taken a central place in India's National Action Plan on climate change, with National Solar Mission as one of the key missions. The mission aims to establish India as a global leader in solar energy by creating the policy conditions for solar technology diffusion across the country as quickly as possible. This is in line with India's intended nationally determined contribution target to achieve more than 40% cumulative electric power installed capacity from non-fossil fuel-based energy resources and to reduce the emission intensity of its GDP by 33 to 35% from 2005 level by 2030. From an energy security perspective, scalability, minimal loss in power transmission and round-the-clock dependability, that is what makes solar energy the most secure of all sources. And the sun is shining bright in India, with the solar sector witnessing the highest ever solar capacity addition. India now has a cumulative 57 gigawatt installed solar capacity as per Mercom's India Solar Q2 2022 report. Solar power generation reached a new record in the EU over the summer months as supplies from gas, hydropower and nuclear were all squeezed during the energy crisis. Sunny weather across the continent and a boost in solar installations contributed to the record generation of 99.4 terawatt-hours of electricity from solar power between May and August. The fact that UK can already generate above 10% of EU electricity from solar reinstates the belief that sustainable is attainable. India now stands fifth globally in solar power deployment, by surpassing Italy. India's solar power capacity has increased by more than 11 times in the last 5 years. Presently, solar tariff in India is very competitive and has achieved grid parity. In order to encourage solar manufacturing, the Union government has recently approved second tranche of PLI scheme to boost manufacturing of solar photovoltaic modules. The second tranche has been approved with an outlay of 19,500 crore rupees. As per the new trajectory issued by the central government, states will have to meet 25% of their power demand through renewable energy in the current year and increase it to 43% by the end of the decade. The rooftop solar scheme earlier required households to get rooftop solar panel from listed vendors only to avail benefits and subsidy. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has announced new portal to simplify residential consumers to install rooftop solar. A photograph of the installed system for distribution utility is sufficient to avail benefits or subsidy under the government scheme. Initiatives like International Solar Alliance reflect India's global leadership in ensuring affordable, reliable energy for all and protecting critical infrastructure for sustainable development. Union Minister for Power and New and Renewable Energy R.K. Singh presided over ISA's 5th Assembly in Delhi to discuss and deliberate upon critical issues of energy access, energy security and energy transition to fulfill the international pledges on energy transition. And now, to understand how the world is gearing towards faster adoption of solar energy technologies to bring in energy security and highlight solutions to drive the transition to clean energy, we are being joined by Dr. Ajay Mathur, who is the Director General, International Solar Alliance. Welcome to the show, sir, and to discuss something which is of prime importance. Now, as the world stands at the cusp of a solar revolution, can you tell us what factors are driving the shift to solar energy? Is solar the future, the way forward now?
We are seeing a reduction in prices. Rural household electrification, suddenly solar becomes cost economic and viable. So here is a solution where none existed. And the other thing is that because of the climate change challenge, we are also looking at means, for example, solar, which do not emit carbon dioxide emissions. So when these three things come together, we are finding that solar is the technology of choice. It's happening everywhere, and by 2030 we expect that in most parts of the world, solar plus batteries will be the cheapest way to provide electricity. And by 2050, we expect that the prices would be about a third of where they are now.
So, according to you, what role is solar energy expected to play in the vision of India's 2070 net zero goals?
As we look towards 2070 and net zero, this will largely, the amount of electricity that we use and the kind of electricity that we use would largely be dependent on its price. Consequently, we expect that by the end of this decade, when solar plus storage becomes the cheapest electricity, we will see very little fossil fuel capacity coming up. And by 2050 or so, there would be very little fossil fuel capacity that is left. Most of it would have retired by then. In other words, solar will be the main form of electricity in a carbon-free India. Yes, there will be wind. Yes, there will be biomass. Yes, of course, hydro and nuclear will be there. But solar will be the single largest source of electricity in 2070.
Last year at COP26 in Glasgow, the Green Grids Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid project was launched by India in partnership with the UK. Could you update us on the initiative? Will this be a part or the start of a global system to trade clean energy across borders now?
What we are looking at is enabling solar electricity to flow from areas where the sun is still up and therefore they're able to produce electricity into areas where the sun has set and therefore there is a net demand for solar electricity. So for example, when it is still light in India, it is dark in East Asia. If the Indian grid and the East Asian grid are connected through a strong high voltage connector, we can have solar electricity flowing from the Indian region to the East Asian region. What this does is it enables us, each country, to look at the amount of solar capacity that you need, the amount of battery capacity you need, and the amount of interconnections that you need in order to find a more viable solution. We are moving from region to region, looking at the kinds of demands, looking at the kinds of prices, and the kinds of regulatory structures that would be needed for these kinds of connections to emerge.
International Solar Alliance has recently launched Corporate Advisory Group. What is the main focus? What is the objective of this group? What are you hoping to achieve?
So, the Corporate Advisory Group brings together the private sector in the areas of the development of solar, obviously, but also the people who finance it, also the people who manufacture both the panels as well as various other components. This helps us in one, understanding what the kinds of challenges that these countries face, what is it that they would like to see so that we can share it with our member countries. And second, as our member countries go ahead and invest in solar or create solar projects, here is a group of people who can come together to supply the solar energy that is required by our member countries. So the Corporate Advisory Group of the International Solar Alliance provides us both a place to think about our ideas, our policies, our various programs before we launch them, as well as provide a means of communicating what we are doing and therefore ensure that the projects that are done are actually picked up.
So what trends are you seeing globally in terms of scaling up solar manufacturing as far as the general industry is concerned?
So what we are seeing now, for example, if you look at India itself, there is about 45,000 crores worth of PLI money that is available as incentives for people who sell high efficiency solar cells. Similarly, we are seeing in the EU, similarly we are seeing in the US. We are looking at manufacturing increasing to about 7 to 10 times what it is today by 2030.
All right, sir, thank you so much for joining us today. And on that note, it's time to go into a break. When we return, we discuss how the private sector is playing a vital role to drive the transition to solar energy to make India energy independent. Stay tuned. Welcome back to India Energy Bulletin. The power sector plays a critical role in enabling India's vision to meet net zero emission by 2070. Tata Power is one of the leading players in the solar energy sector. Tata Power Solar is committed to enabling solar power and aims to provide energy access to millions of people across the country via its integrated solar solutions. It is one of the largest solar manufacturers in India, and Tata Power Solar operates a world-class manufacturing unit in Bengaluru with a production capacity of 580 megawatt of modules and 530 megawatt of cells. The company recently announced its plans to develop around 10,000 megawatt of renewable energy capacity, mainly from solar in Rajasthan, over the next 5 years. The company plans to develop up to 8,000 megawatt of utility-scale projects, 1,000 megawatt of solar rooftop, and 1.5 lakh solar pumps in Rajasthan. Tata Power is one of India's largest integrated power companies, breaking grounds with various unique and large projects to make sustainable solutions attainable by all. Tata Power, with 140 plus megawatt solar capacity installed and much more in pipeline for various arms of the Tata Group, is putting forward the ambitious sustainability agenda of Tata Group to support India's green dream. Tata Power Solar, in partnership with Cricket Club of India, installed solar rooftop project at Brabant Stadium. With this, CCI has been able to curb the emission of over 840 tons of carbon dioxide annually. Tata Power Solar has commissioned a 2.67 megawatt solar carport at Cochin International Airport. The entire solar plant is aimed towards reducing 1,868 tons of CO2 annually. Reaffirming Tata Group's commitment towards sustainable manufacturing, Tata Power and Tata Motors have jointly inaugurated India's largest grid-synchronized behind-the-meter solar carport at the Tata Motors car plant in Pune. The 6.2 MWP solar carport will generate 86.4 lakh kilowatt-hour of electricity per year and is estimated to reduce 7,000 tons of carbon emissions annually. Spanning over 30,000 square meters, this carport will not only generate green power but will also provide covered parking for finished cars in the plant. Tata Power Solar has been customizing solar plants to suit local site conditions to ensure best-in-class performance and a long life. Tata Power Solar has successfully built a scaffolding platform on the water body to make the entire solar plant float on water. This is India's largest floating solar power project in Kayamkulam, Kerala, with an installed capacity of 101.6 megawatt. In an effort to support the government's PM Kusum Yojana aimed at ensuring reliable daytime power supply for irrigation, reducing subsidy burden on discoms, and providing additional sources of income to farmers, standalone solar pumps have the potential to improve the productivity of farmers and are an environmentally friendly alternative to diesel-powered pumps. By replacing just 1 million diesel pumps with solar ones, we can expect to mitigate the usage of 9.4 billion litres of diesel, which translates into direct savings for farmers. It will help offset 25.3 million tons of carbon dioxide. Tata Power, as an empaneled agency under PM Kusum scheme, has installed approximately 80,000 solar pumps across India to provide water assurance and financial security to our farmers. Now, the company has signed an MOU with Tamil Nadu government to set up a mega solar manufacturing plant in Tamil Nadu. The new production facility aims to help meet the rising demand for clean energy solutions. Tata Power's arm, Tata Power Renewable Energy, raised around 2,000 crore rupees by issuing 8.36 crore shares to BlackRock-backed firm in August this year. The company aims to achieve a portfolio of over 20 gigawatt of renewables asset and a market-leading position in rooftop and EV charging space across India. Now, Tata Power is truly committed to build a resilient and a sustainable future. To discuss how the company is working towards helping India achieve its vision of net zero emissions and transition to green and clean energy, we are being joined by Dr. Praveer Sinha, who is the CEO and MD of Tata Power. Welcome, Mr. Sinha, to the show. What role is solar energy expected to play in the vision of India's 2070 net zero goal? As India stands at the cusp of a solar revolution, what will it take to fulfill India's solar power dream? What is the roadmap ahead? What role will Tata Power play in making this dream come true?
You are absolutely right. Solar is going to change the way India will become net zero by 2070. In fact, if we see all the renewable sources which are available in our country, solar is number one. While we have large wind and hydro potential, but nothing like solar, especially considering that there are more than 300 days in most parts of the country where solar energy can be generated. And I think going forward, solar energy will play a very, very important role in the overall scheme of capacity addition that will take place in the country. what is important is how do we make it affordable and how do we make this available round the clock. While we will have solar energy during the daytime, we need to actually tie up with wind energy, with storage solutions to make it available 24/7. And I think with more and more of new technologies coming in, this will become a reality. One of the other big areas that is required to make this a reality is about bringing low-cost financial resources. With India's target to add nearly 350 gigawatt of solar and wind and other renewable sources and non-carbon generation by 2030, which is another 8 years, India will require huge amount of investment for creating this infrastructure and this facility. And to drive this energy transition agenda for the country, one will need collective efforts of everyone, the policymakers, the regulators, the Indian corporate, the international financing agencies, and of course, the support of the local people who will slowly graduate into moving towards clean energy sources. For Tata Power, this is a great opportunity to lead the role in terms of creating the necessary ecosystem for usage of solar energy and renewable energy. For us, this is not a choice, but this is a necessity for us to survive. And many of the solutions that Tata Power will be bringing solutions of fully utilizing the potential of solar energy, wind energy, storage solutions, and how we can create hybrid solutions which will make them available 24/7. Tata Power has been investing a lot of money and resources in these technology areas to adopt the best technologies, as also to bring the best technologies in our country by collaborating with institutions. And these are global institutions, research institutions, who will bring state-of-the-art technology for implementation at an affordable cost in the country. Our firm belief is that sustainable is attainable, and our campaign has been not only to make people aware that sustainable is attainable, but also walk the talk by creating the necessary infrastructure, necessary ecosystem to make this a reality. And for that, we will tie up with all our partners, including financial institutions, investors, to make it a reality.
So recently, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy announced that households are now free to get rooftop solar panels installed by themselves or any other vendor of their choice, and a photograph of the installed distribution utility system is sufficient to qualify for government benefits or subsidies. What sort of trends or demand do you see in this space going ahead?
I think this is a huge initiative of the government to socialize and decentralize the usage of rooftop solar. And when we talk of rooftop solar, it's not only about rooftop solar for residential purpose, but it is also for commercial and industrial purpose. And I think the type of support that the government is providing, the type of incentives that the government is providing, this will only help and enhance the way that rooftop solar and solar energy can be utilized in all parts of the country. From Tata Power side, we support the consumers. Right from the stage, they decide to set up a rooftop solar. Apart from doing the technical assessment, we do the engineering, supply, erection, and integration with the grid. And we also do the financing and the insurance. So we tie up with partners who provide these solutions. We also look after the O&M and the AMC for operating these plants efficiently. And I think the opportunity of decentralized power, the opportunity of socializing power and giving the opportunity to the consumers and thereby empowering them to not only produce their own energy but to supply makes a unique proposition. In fact, The new word for such consumers is prosumers, because they produce and also consume power, as also supply to others. So I think this is a great initiative of the government, and Tata Power is working very closely with the government as well as consumers to increase the penetration of rooftop solar right across the country.
So is solar tech one of the segments that India needs to focus on? Is your company partnering with or supporting startups that aid the solar energy ecosystem?
This is a very, very important aspect, especially when we want to do mass deployment of renewables and solar in the country, because these are all new technologies, disruptive technologies, and only when we get tie-up with innovators globally as well as startups, we'll be able to bring down the cost and affordability of renewable power and solar power to the consumers. For Tata Power, we have been partnering with some of the government establishments to set up the Clean Energy International Incubation Lab in Delhi, with the objective that how do we bring many of these products and solutions from lab to the market. Tata Power supports them by giving them the opportunity to try and test these products and solutions in our business areas, as also provide them many of the test beds which are used by them for effectively utilizing the solution before they bring it to the market. I think today the way we have put together the Clean Energy International Incubation Lab, it will go a long way in coming up with cutting edge and disruptive technologies which will make solutions not only good for urban areas, but also solutions which are good in rural areas, where through the microgrid support we can produce energy in villages and thereby create the economic opportunities that can lead to socio-economic changes in the remote areas. So I think for us, it is very, very important to be part of this transformative journey and create the necessary tools and solutions which makes universal access of energy a reality.
All right, that was an enriching conversation, Mr. Sinha. Thank you so much for joining us with those valuable insights of yours. We will be back next month on India Energy Bulletin to bring to you all the latest developments in the sustainable energy sector. Stay tuned.